Hi, I'm John,
And I'm Paul.
and this is the Minute Podcast.
If you give a mouse a cookie, I'm pretty sure he'd write a book. But give us 60 seconds of footage and we'll tell you where to look. With a concept this simplistic, it's hard to say if it'll last. But give us just a minute and we'll give you a podcast. The Minute Podcast. Great. Thanks for joining us for another episode. As you may know by now, the Minute Podcast is a weekly conversation between me and John where we review a listener-submitted minute of content, either from a movie, TV show, or somewhere else on the internet, and we talk about it, try to figure out what's going on and how we got there. John, what are we looking at today?
So today we're watching a clip titled Old Maid Scene from the movie It Follows. And this was supplied by Chris Taylor, otherwise known as Liquid Swordsman.
Excellent, and this week's episode is brought to you by the HelloFresh recipe delivery service. HelloFresh is the dopest way to create awesome meals at home. They ship you all of the dankest ingredients so that you never need to waste time at the store. Barramundi, that's a dope-ass fish that they'll mail you. Quinahua, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's dope. All you boys are going to be super impressed. And the best part, John? It's all HelloFresh. Visit HelloFresh.com/MinutePod for $30 off your first order today.
Thank God, I've been missing the freshness. All right. So, what is our level of familiarity with the movie It Follows, Paul? I personally I know the concept behind it, that it's sort of like personified venereal disease.
I actually didn't even know that. Is that a joke or is that actually the premise?
No, like it follows. Am I gonna ruin your understanding of this if I explain to you what the actual concept of it is?
I think so. So don't tell me.
Okay, so I won't tell you. Okay, then this will be fun. I thought that you at least had like that, like it's one of those movies that you can sort of like describe the premise of in a few seconds. Like it's got rules, but overall, yeah.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with it, but I'm not gonna think about it. And I know nothing about this movie at all. 0% knowledge.
Oh, that's good. Okay, then I should have not have said anything. Then this is gonna be good. But other than that, I've never seen the movie. It's I'm not a big horror person, and I've been told that it's very scary. But I'm kind of, I don't know. This clip makes me question whether or not I'd be able to handle it, because I think I might be able to if this is like the most terrifying part, but I have a feeling that it's probably not, isn't it?
Well, not without the context, anyway.
Yeah, no, certainly not without the context.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, well, Paul, why don't we go through this scene? What's happening here?
Sure. So it starts off in a classroom. There's a group of students. It looks like a real classroom, and then the young woman storms out and walks down the hallway, and is then followed by a mysterious old woman. And that's all that we see in this minute.
Yep. That is it. That's a minute.
Yep.
All right, so I think that this time we should do a script read, Paul.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think this episode would benefit from that.
Yeah.
Who do you want to be in the script?
I'm going to be the professor, and I'm going to be rando woman in the hall.
Okay, that means I will be the young woman whose name I believe is Ray, according to the YouTube description.
Oh, we're pulling in some YouTube descriptions here.
I am cheating.
Ray, how is Ray spelled?
I believe it was R-A-Y.
R-A-Y. Okay. It says J in the description on mine. Are we watching different clips?
You know, John, maybe I just can't spell. Let's say that her name's actually J, then.
Okay.
J-A-Y. It's no, John, it's Ray. It's spelled J-A-Y. That's
yeah, I just didn't realize it was
okay.
pronunciation difference. All right, so.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so when I think when I say go, that's when we're gonna start. We're gonna start the scene. Okay. I think.
All right. Yep. Let's do it that way.
Go. No,
Oop,
this is not it at all.
Da 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 dun. Da 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 dun.
Excuse me.
Da da dun.
Excuse me.
Da dun.
Bum 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 bum.
Da dun.
Wait.
Hello.
Hello.
Ba-da-dum. Ba-da-dum.
And that's basically that's scene. Yeah.
As you can tell, it's a very musically driven segment.
It
Not a lot of
is.
dialogue, but a
In
lot
fact,
of obviously very powerful bass lines that we delivered.
yes. We also like there's some discussion. We really don't know what the professor is saying. We didn't even know that the random hall woman was responding.
Took a while to figure that out.
Because of just how loud the music was, and I maybe I can like clip it in for a second here and just like give a taste, but it is not sound balanced for you to understand what it is the characters are saying.
No, it's true, which leads me to believe it's probably not that important.
No, probably not. In fact, the script read was probably completely unnecessary for this scene.
Unlike
But
all of the
that's-
other times when it's been very important.
Yes, and it's never stopped us before, has it? Paul?
That's true. It's true. All right, John. So, what's like your initial response to what we've seen here? For me, it was a completely cold take, but since you have a little bit of context,
Okay, so she's obviously freaked out. I have no idea if she has a reason to be freaked out other than just this woman is following her, this old lady. I don't know why I assume she's wearing like a nightgown and a knee brace.
which
Which
I
I
want
kind-
to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
But okay, so my initial response, though, because I'm coming in completely cold, was first, is this a scary movie or not? I can't tell, really, based on the context here. I can tell it's supposed to be a scary movie, but I can't tell if they're succeeding or not. But my
Yeah.
other initial reaction is that this is the least remarkable set of backgrounds or like scenery that we've ever had in one of our segments.
Yes. Well, it is very much a school in the sense that, is this a high school? Is she supposed to be in high school? Because it looks, I assume this is a college, right? Like,
Well, I think that this is actually probably a high school, but all of the actors are college age because
and they're also dressed to be college students. Like, they're all
that's the
wearing
thing.
like
They're not dressed like high school students.
not enough like sweatpants and sweatshirts are going on here. Like, they're all way too like they dressed up for college. She's wearing, okay, the main character is wearing a freaking cardigan tied together with like a little like knit belt. Okay?
Right. Which raises some questions for me, John, because in the YouTube description, she's described as Rebel Girl J,
Yeah.
but that cardigan is like the least rebellious thing I think I've ever seen.
Okay, so there's 6-sided stars, or are they flowers? She does give off sort of like this might be a smoking jacket sort of vibe from it, but
A little bit, yeah.
we don't see her smoking at all. So
Well, maybe that's why she's leaving class. But before we get there, in the initial shot, we see the most amazing, who I assume he's a secondary character, this guy, wearing the Canadian tuxedo with the very long hair.
the Canadian tuxedo.
He
Yes.
looks to me like every 90s bad boy in a show who actually
does.
turns out to be a good guy.
He does look uniquely 90s. Like, yeah, I feel like he's an extra on a very special episode of like Boy Meets World or something like
I was about to say I can't wait to see what happens when this boy meets world.
Yeah.
So we're same wavelength.
that. Apparently, yes, he's definitely giving off like a 90s
Walking down this
TGIF
road that we call
vibe
life.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah. True. Okay, who do you think our protagonist though looks most like? Is there another actress that comes to mind when you saw her? Because for me, it was just, bam, I know who this person looks like. I don't know who it is, but
What does she? Who does she look like, Paul?
I think she's a dead ringer for a young Hilary Duff.
Hilary Duff.
Mm.
Paul, I have to be frank with you.
Mhm.
I don't remember Hilary Duff at all.
Well, I don't really either, but I think she was blonde and a woman.
Okay, so check.
So that's
check
why, you
and
know,
check
exactly the same.
The obviously the two defining features.
No, I do remember her, and I think they actually do look pretty similar.
I feel like Hilary Duff. Did she have also like a defined jawline like this? Like if it,
I think so.
She does have a prominent jawline. So like
Yeah.
maybe that's where you're getting it from.
I think so. But John, why do you think she's leaving the classroom? That's a real question that I have here.
So I assume it's because the music started playing. Because you can't just be sitting in a classroom when you suddenly hear whoa.
So you think it was the internal musical cues?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
like,
okay.
why does anybody do anything in a movie? It's because the music starts freaking out.
Okay, I like that theory.
That's how you know Jaws is coming. That's how you know this old lady's coming, is the music cues.
Okay. I mean, if I go back to the YouTube description, and I only read this one sentence, was that how Rebel Girl J does not take school seriously?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking she's just skipping class then, right?
Okay, so she's skipping class, and then the old lady comes around the corner?
True, but I have more questions first,
Mhm.
because if I'm correct that she's just skipping class, who in their right mind starts doing that from the middle of the class? If you decide you're going to skip class, you decide that before class starts and you don't go, right?
That does sort of bring up an interesting thing, because the teacher's like, excuse me, and I'm just thinking to myself, it's like, I don't even really do that, and I'm a high school teacher. So like the idea that a college professor would be like, hey, where the heck are you going? Like, you can't
Well,
just
that's why I think it's
leave my
supposed to be a high
class.
school. Yeah, that's why I think it's supposed to be a high school, though.
Yes, maybe, but like I feel like a young person like literally running out of your classroom feels like one of those scenarios where you're like, I should probably call the front office to make sure that she's not bleeding or something. Like, not like
Mm,
not getting sassy about it. Like, I don't know. Seems like a
Well,
weird part. Also,
it is, but
I want to bring up this classroom that she's in.
tell me about it.
It is huge. This is a
Pretty big.
ginormous classroom, and there's like 20 kids in it.
Well, we don't get a good wide shot of it, at least not from the minute and 32-second mark.
That's true, but I feel like if this was a public school, there'd be at least like 4 times more students in this size room. Like, this teacher would be grading all night.
You bring a unique perspective as a teacher.
Yeah, sorry. Then there's also the fact that all the whiteboards, which are also the biggest whiteboards I've ever seen in my entire life, all
They're
the
pretty big.
whiteboards are all perpendicular to the direction in which all of the students are looking, which makes me think that the teacher decided like to either map like every solid wall in here that isn't a window with whiteboards, which is expensive.
Sure.
Maybe that's why they don't get real tables. They just get folding tables because the teacher broke the budget on whiteboards.
Could be.
Or the teacher just didn't realize that when she set up all the chairs and all the tables that, they were all facing the wrong direction, and now it's just up there giving like a PowerPoint on like what I assume is a brick wall.
Well, that definitely could be true. I remember from high school back in the day, it was right when they started bringing whiteboards into classrooms instead of chalkboards.
Look how young I am, Paul.
Well, that's certainly true. But the thing that they would do was they would leave the chalkboards up at the front, and then rather than cover them, they would just put these big whiteboards on a secondary wall.
Oh.
So I'm wondering, given the time frame we're looking at from this film, could that be what's happening here? Could this be a prime transition that from chalk to, whiteboard?
Maybe. I guess. This is a very recent movie, though. It's like 2014.
Yeah, but from the jean jacket that kid was wearing, I'm thinking maybe it's set in the 90s.
Yeah. Although the woman who's sitting next to him is wearing that sort of like cap, that sort of like billowy cap. I don't know what else to call it. That seems so popular today. It's
Well,
like
it could be some
knitted hat thing.
I don't remember the hat, but
yeah, you don't vividly remember this woman's rent. I'm looking at it right now. That's why I can remember.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like this show has at least proved one thing, and that's I have absolutely no observational or memory skills.
So you saw this hat and just latched on. You're like, I'm gonna
I was like,
bring up
red
this
hat.
detail.
Yeah.
Check. Well, John, I have some more questions about Jay and her class skipping adventure.
Okay.
The first is that as she's walking down the hallway after immediately leaving the room, she can clearly see those two girls having that conversation, but walks through the middle anyway, and that's pretty rude.
Yeah, I kind of brings some interesting like sort of pathos to the weird like hello, and then the one girl in the group of two girls talking says hello. It's almost
she
as though
says it back and
she's like running through them, and then like you can see the one woman that she steps in front of is like vaguely confused by this, and then she's like, why are you like hello could also imply like why were you in my way, or something like that instead of just like,
Well, that's true, but that's why her hello and response seems too normal to me.
yeah.
Because if someone like walks in front of you kind of rudely and then 10 seconds later turns around and says hello in a confused voice, my response wouldn't be like, "Oh, hi." I'd be a little, I don't know, I might be a little saltier about it.
Her walking through them, is this like a filmmaker's trick? Are these like Chekhov's rando people in the hallway?
Well,
they have to set
I have
the scene with them and then.
I have a theory as to why she has to walk between the two of them, but we'll
Okay.
get back to that in a second.
Oh, you have me intrigued. Okay.
I'm going chronologically in my mind, or otherwise I'll forget stuff.
No, not a problem. Not a problem.
So,
Paul.
after she walks through those two people, she's walking pretty quickly there as if she's, ditching class and escaping, right?
Yeah.
But then she slows to a very slow walk and deliberately looks at both sides of the hallway as if there's interesting things there that she's checking out that she's never seen before.
I gotta see this.
Like she's-
you're right. You're right. She's like, yeah,
It's
she's
like
checking
she's
out the
walked too
posters that
quickly.
don't exist.
Yeah, it's like she's walked too quickly and needs to slow down because this old woman got a late start following her out of the classroom.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because like she's looking off, and we already see like, oh, I guess it was a window. I guess theoretically it could have been the window into another classroom.
I think that's what happened, but it's still a little weird that if she's ditching class that she stops to slowly look through the windows.
Yeah. I mean, what is it that causes her to turn around other than the music cues? Like,
I have no idea, actually. That's a good question.
I mean, she's obviously paranoid about this woman, but did she see the woman already? Do you think?
I don't think she did. I think when she turns around and sees her is the first time she's ever seen this old woman.
Okay.
Because otherwise she would already know it's some sort of monster. And
Well, we
then why would
assume-
she say hello confusedly? Instead she'd be like, oh shit, and would run away.
Yeah.
I would think.
Also, the fact that like the two women talking give no reaction whatsoever when the old woman, the titular it follows,
Mhm.
follows her through those two people.
Yeah. But to go back to my theory about those two people,
Mm-hmm.
when she first walks between them, they're having a conversation, reasonably close together, so she kind of squeezes through them, right?
Yeah.
But then by the time that it follows, she walks through that same space, but they're having that conversation like 6 feet apart.
Oh yes. Well, it's because the camera has cut. Like, oh wait, no, it hasn't. It just when it
think it
turns a
has.
corner, there's a cut. But there's
Mhm.
no like, there's no cut a second time. How do they drift apart?
Okay, yeah, I think when she walks through them, the reason she walks between them is so that they will step apart. And then the old woman, the problem is we don't know if she's corporeal or not. I guess we know that the women cannot see the old woman, which is why they have them in the hallway so that we know it's some sort of monster, right?
Yeah.
That they can't see. But they have to make so much room for her to get through.
Do you think the universe provided that room? Like, does It Follow have like the ability to warp like the positions of people, or like whether or not windows are open or closed, or
I don't think that it does, but it also raises really the question of, is this old woman a corporeal monster or not?
so is it possible that one like some random person could have just been standing in front of this woman? Like, do you think that It Follows is rather literal in the sense that it must take the same path that the protagonist
Interesting.
takes? Like, because she does go between those two people. When
Mhm.
like I feel like a kindly old lady would be a little bit less brash than this teen, right?
Probably true. Well, and she really does look more like a kindly old lady than a monster,
It's
to
true.
me. In particular, the knee brace kind of gives it away.
Yeah, I love.
It's
the
like,
knee
no,
brace.
that's so real. Like, this old monster lady should not be wearing a knee brace.
Now, do you think that's like an OSHA thing? Because like this actress, this actress is like, oh yeah, I have to wear this knee brace or else I can't stand for more than 20 minutes at a time. And
I
and they're
don't
like,
think-
oh well, god damn it, I guess this is part of it. And like, oh, I also have to wear shoes. Specifically these orthopedic shoes that look terrible.
Well, I don't think it's an OSHA thing so much as a requirement of the actress, because I think she's either doing a really good job of acting unsteady on her feet as she walks through, or is actually used to some sort of additional walking assistance. I don't know if it's a walker or what, but she looks really unsteady and is walking really slowly and has this really determined look on her face,
Yeah.
which to me could either be I'm having trouble walking or could be I'm being a scary monster.
Now, another question I have is like, is it possible? So like, I don't know if the It Follows monster has like a single form or if it represents like I know nothing about this movie other than the premise that it follows. It like that's it. It's in the title. They give it to you up front. Like, is this what the It Follows looks like to all people who it follows, or is It Follows like represented by like is this supposed to be that girl at like the end of her life or something like that?
Ooh, interesting. That would be creepier. My theory for what has happened involves her being the same for every single person.
Okay.
But we can get to that in a minute.
All right.
But
I'm excited about this, Paul. Like I genuinely
it's
want to know.
actually not that good. I just had no idea what was happening.
It doesn't matter, Paul. I'm still excited about it.
Do you think this old woman is scary though?
I think I'm scared for her. Like she does not look particularly healthy. Not in like the physical sense, but in like the way that she's walking and the way that she's looking and the fact that she's dressed in a nightgown. Like this feels very much like Mr. Burns hallucinating out in the forest or something like that. You know, like this is not a good thing to see in the world. Like you want to find that old person, you want to help them, you want to, get a police officer to help them find their way home.
That's the thing is if I saw that old woman coming towards me in a hallway or something, even if she didn't respond, I don't think running away is what I would do. I don't know exactly what I would do to help, but I feel like there would at least be something beyond saying hello and not getting a response and then running away, right?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there would be a certain amount of like, oh, hello, like, are you okay? Like you're not responding to me when I talk to you, like you're, or like I'd open a door for her.
The bare minimum, yeah. You make it easier for her to get wherever she's going.
Exactly, and I like. Why is it implied that she's going to come to me? Like I just assumed that we're going the same direction. She also wanted to skip out on class.
Yeah, I guess it's possible that. Well, I mean, it could be an adult education program that she's participating in.
It's true.
But
hey, you never stop learning, man. Paul.
Well, you shouldn't. That's for sure. But I also, Jen, I think this is the only monster I've ever seen in a movie, assuming she is a monster, where backing away slowly is a viable solution.
It's true.
Because I think they had this actress, Jay, the young woman, wait there for a long time so that the woman would get kind of close to her before she started backing away slowly.
Yeah.
Because once she starts backing away, I think the gap is increasing.
That's true.
Between the two of them at that point.
The old lady does sort of have this shamble that is not very efficient or fast, let's say. She definitely needs some more assistance if she's going to get someplace quickly.
Well, and it is possible that if we had all of the context, this would in fact be terrifying. Maybe she's an indestructible, shambling old woman, but
I have heard that it is a very genuinely scary movie. So yeah,
it definitely could be. Is there anything else in the scene that you'd like to bring up, John, before we go into our theories?
No, I'm just still confused if this is supposed to be a high school. Everybody just looks so, like, not even like college age. They kind of look like near grad student age. Like,
yeah, the things that make me think it's a high school are first the teacher's reaction.
Yeah.
And second, the fact that the hallways are so deserted while class is going on. I mean, there's this one pair of people out there, but otherwise it's completely empty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess. All right, Paul. Let's get into theories.
Okay, I guess I should go first because I knew nothing going in.
I don't want to corrupt you any more than I have.
Well, building off of my theory that Jay is in fact just skipping class, right? I think that this old woman is either the current truancy officer at the school, coming to track her down, or
just forgot the uniform that day.
Yeah. Or is the ghost of truancy officers past, who haunts people who skip class. And I'm inclined to think the latter is slightly more likely because of the shambling.
So are you sure that like that movie wouldn't be called It's Tardy? Sorry,
That'd be
Paul.
better.
That's a terrible
Actually,
joke.
I would watch a film called It's Tardy though.
Yeah, I watched it.
Um,
It's too close to reality for me.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, what I think happens then is that if you skip class, you're then haunted by this woman until you're in that class the next time.
Oh man. Well,
So
then I
in my
hope it's a
theory-
high school, because if it's not, then she won't have this class until like, if it's a college, she won't have this class
Mhm.
probably till the next week.
Could be bad. Or if like you skip class on a Friday, which to me seems like the best day to skip class, you're stuck with this old woman all weekend. And I don't know what she does to haunt you. I'm imagining it's sort of a benevolent haunting where you like play cribbage.
and she just play cribbage, and you get to enjoy the smell of like tiger balm on her knee.
And she probably gives you some Werther's originals, but it's
Aw.
like it's still weird and you have to hang out with her all weekend.
Yeah, it's like a whole babysitting thing for somebody that, you don't know or care about.
And that no one else can see,
Yeah,
as
and
we've
then
learned.
nobody
So
else can see.
it basically just ruins your weekend. I mean,
Where
it's
did
like it's not that bad as far as hauntings go, but on the
Yeah.
other hand, like your whole weekend's gone. You have to make excuses to why you can't see anybody.
Yeah.
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 Which
Oh.
which then I guess means that the show is about the dangers of skipping class, but how it's like it's not that dangerous, but it's still inconvenient, so
It's
you
still
shouldn't do it.
inconvenient. Yeah. There's no way you can go to a party with old grandma Truancy.
Well, I guess maybe you could. It just depends on how good you are at ignoring old people.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I mean,
You'd have to
she'll be there
pretty
behind
cold.
you, but
Nobody's gonna like you at this party if you're just really cold to an old person. Like, that doesn't seem.
but
like...
also no one at the party can see the old person,
But we can all sense the ageism.
the oldness. Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, John, so based on what you know about the show, then first of all, tell me what you know about this, and then what you think's happening.
So I believe the rules are that if you sleep with someone who's being like cursed, been cursed by It Follows, then you are then the person that It follows, and then once it catches you, it kills you somehow. I assume, I don't know, by like draining you, a la the was it the Last Crusade, drinking
Mhm.
from the wrong chalice sort of thing.
Sure.
And then you dissolve into bones, and then it goes after the person that gave you the curse. So it's like a
Interesting.
ladder.
Okay.
So it's like a chain letter, except with sex.
Well, John, that makes me even more sure that this is, in fact, a high school, because
Yeah.
my first reaction to that was, does oral count? And I know that was the biggest question in high school. So I'm pretty sure that this is, in fact, set in high school.
Okay, well that's good to know, and a little distressing, but but I think it's something. Yeah, it's basically a personification of venereal disease,
Okay.
of STDs.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's why I think it might make sense that like she's the old version of herself, but
Mm.
I have to be honest, like I didn't even know that the thing that follows it follows was an old lady at all. So I'm like,
That somehow makes it a lot scarier if it's venereal disease based and an old woman is what haunts you.
yeah. Well,
That's-
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Disconcerting.
it also says Old Maid Scene is what the scene is called, and I wonder if that's like, is that the monster's name, like the old maid?
Or is that just her monster?
Yeah,
Is an old maid?
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This seems like it might be one of the more well done minutes from a film, or like one of the more well done films that we've actually
Yes.
seen on here.
Yes.
Because
Well,
it seems like what it's doing, it's probably doing pretty well. There's nothing stupid in the background that we can make fun of, really.
Yeah, I can also assume that I think it's the first time we've had a monster movie, like between Birdemic, Troll 2, and It Follows. I think this is the first time that we've had a monster minute that actually has a monster inside of it. Because
Yeah, that's true.
the Birdemic one, no birds. We still don't know if birds are in Birdemic.
That's true. Nobody tweeted at us about
no.
the birds.
And then It Follows. It Follows. Obviously, we have the monster. We're pretty sure that this is the monster. I mean, it's following her. Like I feel like we can.
Yeah,
make
I
that
think we
assumption.
can say so.
And then what is it, in Troll 2, we just had a terrible child, or a child in a terrible predicament at the very least.
Well, that raises the question: are children or the elderly the real monsters, John?
Well, if we get a Babadook clip, then we'll find out.
It's true.
Yeah. Or
Somebody
Children of the
submit a
Corn.
clip from
Yeah. I've certainly never seen the Babadook.
Have you not?
Also know that it's children.
I saw part of it, but I think it'd be good. Somebody should submit that.
Okay.
Well, not you, John.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. I'm not going to freaking watch that movie. Are you kidding me? I'm terrified of just this scene of It Follows. So actually, I'm not really that terrified. Which kind of brings us to like where do you think this is going to go, Paul? Like what do you think is like the end game here?
Based on my previous theory, I mean, she will be fine. She'll just have an
Just
awkward weekend with this
inconvenience.
old woman, and yeah, I don't know, but it sounds like based on what you know, maybe this woman dies.
Yeah. Well, what I'm wondering is like, and I feel like this type of movie is like exactly what Twitter is invented for, where people will just probably tweet at the writer of this film and just ask them like, can the It Follows thing follow her on an airplane? Can the It Follows thing follow her on a train? Like, what if she got into a taxi? Does the It Follows thing have like taxi summoning powers? Like, can it just like, if she goes up to somebody who is also getting a taxi, just like sit next to them?
If she goes up a small flight of stairs,
Yeah,
is she
exactly.
safe?
Yeah, small flight of stairs. This poor woman.
Just summons a hover round and
Exactly. Like, also, she's coming out of this classroom. Was the woman in the classroom? Was she just sitting there? Like, how did she get into the classrooms? Don't usually have like a multitude of entrances. Like,
yeah, it's true. We have more questions than answers, but John, do you think you can recommend this movie?
I can recommend the soundtrack.
Yeah.
The noise. I assume it's called noisecore or something like that. I assume that
Nice.
noise is in the title of whatever genre of music is. It makes up the soundtrack.
Yeah, I'd believe that. And I guess since it's supposed to be a good scary movie, we can probably recommend it to the people who
I
like
think
that
so.
sort of thing.
I think so.
It seems pretty well done based on what we've seen.
Yeah,
in
it's
this
certainly shot well.
entirely out of context movie. Yeah.
Everybody looks way too put together and like sort of like well shot for me to believe that it's a high school, but I have a feeling that's irrelevant to my actual immersion in this film. Like, I don't think I have
that's
to
probably
believe
true.
it's a high school for me to care about this film.
Okay. Well, I guess we should give another big thank you to Chris for submitting this minute. It was a good one.
Thank you, Chris.
If you want to, thank you, Chris. If you want to support the podcast, first you should submit a minute to us using the contact form on our website. But you should also review us on iTunes or wherever fun podcasts are downloaded. Reach out to us at theminutepodcast@gmail.com. John, I think we've gotten like 2 emails so far, so we're a big deal.
Yep.
And or you
Other
can also
than the
follow
ones
us
that
on
we
Twitter.
get from Twitter. Like,
Well, yeah, I guess if we count those, then we're super popular.
yeah, we're crazy popular. Twitter loves sending us emails.
They really do. But you can also follow us on Twitter
Of
at
course.
MinutePod, or find us on Facebook. As always, this episode was hosted by John Ward and Paul Reberg, produced by John Ward with theme music by Paul Reberg. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Holy crap, you made it to the end. We'll be back next week to do it all again. Until then, be well and be sure to take a minute. The Minute Podcast. The Minute Podcast. The Minute Podcast.